It's time to come out of the closet, unbelievers one and all. I'm Laurie Gaylor. Welcome to Freethought Radio. I'm an out-of-the-closet atheist. And this is the weekend of October 23rd and 24th, 2010. And we have a very special welcome for the 700 participants expected to congregate here in Madison, Wisconsin for the annual National Convention.
We'll have a billboard on the main drag that everyone uses driving in from the airport on East Johnson Street, right after the intersections of First and Fordham Avenues by the railroad tracks there. On your left, as you're coming into town, will be the cheery face of Julia Sweeney, advertising the convention with her Freethought testimony, which says, "I read the Bible. Now I'm a proud atheist."
And when FFRFers leave town on Sunday after the convention and you head back the same way to the airport, on the reverse side of this same billboard, you'll see a very charming photo of our bookkeeper, Katie, who's a young 23-year-old. She's wearing a Godless Goddess shirt. That was her own slogan, bearing some chocolate chip cookies and saying, "I like biking, baking, and sleeping in on Sundays."
And this is really a cute billboard. It's the first time we've ever done an extension, a cutout. She actually extends above the billboard itself.
So you will notice it. And that's just the beginning. FFRF is unveiling its new educational out-of-the-closet, meet your friendly neighborhood atheist agnostic campaign here in Madison on king-size exterior bus ads. And there are 13 different freethinkers with 13 different messages. They came up by themselves, expressing their own personal views on buses that travel to the downtown Capitol Concourse, and that's close to the hotel, the Concourse Hotel.
So 13 bus signs for a convention on Halloween
there you go.
Weekend? Oh. Our theme is, for this campaign, many faces make enlightenment work. Did you pick that phrase anywhere?
That is Bill Dunn, our talented editor.
That's cute. Too many Americans have never knowingly met an atheist or an unbeliever. That contributes to our marginalization and is one of the reasons we're at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to social acceptance.
And we were brainstorming about how to personalize the Freethought message, how to debunk negative stereotypes, how to use all the great slogans that our members are continually sending me for their own ideas about billboards and bus sign slogans. And our daughter Sabrina, who is a UW-Madison student, actually came up with this idea. She was saying, why not use real people? Picture them, have them choose a short statement about their non-belief. And she immediately proposed the statement, "I have faith in myself, not in a God." And so that statement is actually now found with her picture on a Madison bus sign right now.
And I imagine that's making her somewhat popular among her friends and the UW students, seeing her face huge.
Well, we don't know about that, Dan.
Well,
popular or unpopular?
Well, it's probably both. This strategy worked for the gay rights movement, so it's time for atheists and agnostics to come out of our closet. Laurie and I are both featured in the Madison Bus Campaign, along with other FFRF staffers, college students, professionals, and some retired FFRF members.
And to our national speaker, Julia Sweeney, again, of course. In this case, her bus sign is very cute. It says, "Oh my God, there is no God. OMG, there's no God. Julia Sweeney, comedian, playwright, atheist." And it advertises the convention.
It's really cute. And then Steve Benson is on one of the signs. Steve is the editorial cartoonist for the Arizona Republic, who will actually be at the convention with me doing our Tunes and Tunes show. His says, it's his smiling face there, and it says, "I freed my mind when I left God behind." And I'll just read some of the others.
And it identifies him as an ex-Mormon.
As an ex-Mormon, that's right, yeah. I'll read just some of the others here. They're really, really pleasing. There's bright background colors, friendly faces. Bobby Hines is an internationally known fitness expert and an entrepreneur and a lifetime FFRF member. His bus sign says, "Being kind with an open mind is my religion," and he describes himself as a humanist. Then Barbara Wright, who used to own a very popular restaurant here in Madison, Wisconsin, she says, "It's not what you believe, but how you behave."
And she describes herself as a sustainable foodie and a freethinker.
Sustainable foodie. Katie, 23, Madison, an atheist. Her slogan is, "Keep your theology off my biology." Connie Trinan from Middleton, she's an unabashed atheist.
A very well-known feminist.
And a feminist as well. Her slogan is, chemistry and the unconscious force of physics are my gods. Scott Colson, who's our webmaster at FFRF, he's 26. His slogan is, Catechism failed, reason won. Bill Dunn, our editor.
From Middleton.
He's from Middleton, an ex-Catholic also. His slogan is, no one died for my sins. Bonnie, who's also executive assistant at our office, who's 25, or 26 is it? She says, I value freedom and democracy over theocracy. And then you heard Sabrina's already. Then there's Kendra from Madison, a nursing student.
And she's a regular volunteer at our office.
She says, I don't need a God to be happy. And she's got this big, bright, grinning smile on the bus sign. And then there's mine that says, I just lost faith in faith. And Annie Laurie's, which says, give me human rights over religious rights.
R-I-T-E-S. That was my third proposal, because billboard companies, we agreed they could decide which they would accept and which they wouldn't.
So some of them,
I didn't regard the others as particularly radical.
Some of them have been censored because they thought it was a bit too strong.
Well, we agreed on that, so I wouldn't call it censorship, but I guess amended. And I want to thank and salute everybody who participated in this. And then joining all these 13 people, we have another dozen up on rotating digital billboard on Madison's Beltline. So if you're in town, you can go to the West Beltline, and 2,100 feet west of Rimrock Road, you'll see this great big digital billboard north of the road. And you really can go, and should, go and put your car. There's a hilltop where you can stay and give yourself about 20 minutes to view all of the rotating signs. And we share this digital billboard with other advertisers.
And so there's one out of the closet billboard up for like 10 seconds every minute, right? One of them is Eleanor, who's a student in Madison, Wisconsin, and an atheist. She says, living gives my life meaning. And then Wendy Goldberg, who's a volunteer for the foundation, she's an attorney from Marshall. She says, I am ethical and moral without religion. Melanie, who's also a staffer at the foundation, she calls herself a born-again skeptic, she says, recovering Catholic, living for the moment. Patrick from Madison, who's our attorney, says, going from Catholic to atheist set me free.
Jessica Brooks, she's a doctoral student and an atheist. I stopped believing when I ran out of excuses. Tiffany, a volunteer and atheist. Accepting reality challenges me to grow. And are there a few more?
Jody Johnson, I practice Jodyism, she says. And then Andy, who's 23, says, I have faith in people, not in a God. Bob, who's 54, says, religion is the problem, reason the solution.
And then there's Dennis, who simply identified himself as a citizen and an atheist. I'm good without God. So thanks to everyone who participated, and we plan to take this around the country, city by city or state by state, utilizing real FFRF members in their own community to introduce them to their community. And this is something that's never been done before. So if you want to work with FFRF on this, we're looking for individuals or groups or chapters that will coordinate this campaign. It does take a lot of coordination with FFRF in their own communities, and you can call me or you can email me. You can call 1-800-335-4021 or email me at advertising@ffrf.org, and we'll try to take our campaign to a community near you if we have your help. Now we have some very distressing news about the power of prayer, and that would be the story from October 12th, that Canadian father is in custody near Montreal after his daughter 13 died, and he allegedly slapped her because she refused to say prayers with him, according to neighbors, and that her 71-year-old father, who had become very enraged, is in custody. Nutine Sadim, 13, died a week ago Saturday evening in suburban Longueuil, Quebec, Canada, 3 days after she was rushed to hospital unconscious and bleeding from her nose. Her father, Moussa Sadim, had called 911 and was arrested and charged with aggravated assault. That charge might be upgraded, police say. Neighbors say Nutine was a polite girl who was often unable to please her elderly father. Others who lived in the apartment building south of Montreal said the girl sometimes neglected to say daily prayers, which always infuriated him. A neighbor said he was mean, that she'd seen him grab the daughter by the arm because she wouldn't go to say her prayers. A very sobering story.
There's the harm of religion. You'll recall that the Alliance Defense Fund has urged pastors to violate IRS law by endorsing candidates from the pulpit. And we have some audio of one such pastor, Brad Brandon of Minnesota, who not only endorsed from his Berean Bible Baptist Church in Hastings pulpit, but handed out a written list from governor to U.S. Congress of his chosen people. And he ended that list with, "May God be glorified in the upcoming election. God bless America." Listen to this clip.
And my endorsement this morning goes behind Tom Emmer and Annette Meeks, because I believe that they are in line with what is being preached. Secretary of State, then next, I endorse Dan Doc Severson. I know Dan Severson as a personal friend, and he is a fantastic Christian man who would stand here this morning if he were here and say the very things that I said, and if he were in this position, he'd be amening louder than anybody else. He is a fantastic man and a great, solid Christian guy. Some of you have met him. Dan Doc Severson, running for Secretary of State for the Republican Party.
There you have it, just an excerpt, and this is illegal because this is a tax-exempt institute. The rest of us are supporting this.
Now we have some astonishing audio of the by now infamous Christine O'Donnell debating Chris Coons for Senate in Delaware last week, and the topic of creationism in schools came up. Here's a sample of that debate.
Where in the Constitution is separation of church and state?
It's in... No, an excellent point.
Hold on, please. Let's have some respect for the panelists and the questions they brought today and let them dictate a little bit, at least, on where we go with this, okay?
Let me just clarify.
Please.
You're telling me that the separation of church and state is found in the First Amendment.
Government shall make no establishment of religion.
That's in the First Amendment.
She seems surprised, doesn't she? Oh, it's really there.
Yeah, now that was her comment about the First Amendment. I thought we were listening. Let's listen to the one about creationism. It's the same debate with Chris Coons.
To be clear, Ms. O'Donnell, I believe that creationism is religious doctrine and that evolution is broadly accepted. Creationism, which
Theory of intelligent
design is religious doctrine.
Two different things.
Evolution is widely accepted, well-defended scientific fact. And our schools should be teaching science. If we want to instruct our children in religious doctrine and religious practice, as my wife and I choose to, that's wonderful. That's what our churches are for. And that's what private or parochial schools are for. But our public schools should be teaching broadly accepted scientific fact, not religious doctrine.
Well, you've just proved how little you know, not just about constitutional law, but about the theory of evolution. Because the theory of evolution is not a fact.
This theory of evolution is not a fact. She doesn't know there's separation of church and state in the First Amendment. She was also, if you listen to the whole thing, didn't seem to know about any of the amendments, including the 14th Amendment. So kind of another sobering look at religion intruding into politics. And there were other incidents in the last week in campaign debates where other politicians around the country were saying similar things. She's not the only one.
Yeah. And she also thinks that local schools should be free to teach whatever they want, even if it goes against the United States Constitution.
Or even if it's not true.